Hi there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a really interesting, kind of hilarious story for you. It involves an auction, purchasing an expensive vehicle, maintaining some land, and this stuff right here. This is Diamond Willow. If you're not familiar with what it is, we'll talk about that too. So stick around, this should be an interesting, kind of funny video. Before I get into this story, I need to let you guys know that if you're not familiar with the channel, that my father passed away about 8 years ago from a lung disease that he didn't know that he had. It was an occupational related lung disease that took his life rather rapidly in August of 2015. My YouTube audience and my Facebook audience would have loved meeting my dad. I wish you guys had the chance to know him a little bit, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about him and my mother that'll help you understand kind of the character that he was and the relationship that my mom and dad had. Back in the early 2000s, my dad and mom went to an auction. It was my dad's brother's auction, my uncle's auction. My uncle was selling off his farm. He raised cattle and he had several hundred acres to sell along with all sorts of equipment. My dad spent a lot of his time helping his brother get set up for this auction, get everything ready and clean and organized and things like that. Well, my mom took the opportunity to run a concession stand at the auction to benefit my sister's volleyball and basketball team. So she was kind of busy with the concession part of the auction, and my dad was kind of busy getting things organized and seeing how things were running and what things were selling for. Now, the night prior, before the auction, my mom and dad had a conversation that they were not to purchase anything. My dad was not going to buy any of the land. That was out of the question. Wasn't supposed to happen. Supposed to. So during the auction, the auctioneer was selling a 120-acre section of the land. And my dad and I had hunted on that land for about 5 to 10 years prior to this auction. So we knew the land very well. My dad had an idea in his head of what the land was going to sell for and what it was worth, and he was doing some calculating, and he ended up buying the land. The auctioneer pointed to him and said, "Sold," because I really don't know if his intention was to buy it or if his intention was to try to get the price to go a little bit higher, but nonetheless, he ended up owning it, and he was pretty happy about that anyways. However, my mother, not so happy. She had people going up to her during the auction, because this is a small town where people know everybody, and saying congratulations on the land purchase while she's running the concession stand, and she had no idea the deal that had transpired between the auctioneer and my father. So she was a landowner as well, but not a very happy one. A couple months later, my mother went out and bought herself a brand spanking new GMC Yukon XL, fully loaded, leather, the works, beautiful vehicle, the nicest vehicle that my parents had ever owned. My mom bought this vehicle without asking my dad, of course, because in the spirit of their marriage, it was don't get mad, get even. So she definitely got even, because she didn't know they had all that money, right? So she bought herself a new vehicle. My dad couldn't get mad about it because he had already purchased 120 acres of land that he wasn't supposed to. So once my mother bought that brand new GMC Yukon XL, the land was then known forever as Yukon Acres, and that's what we called it from then on. So that is how Yukon Acres got its name, because my mother bought a new vehicle after my dad wasn't supposed to purchase the land in the first place. He got himself in all sorts of trouble for that. But one of my dad's favorite things to do on that land was to clear brush. At first, he bought a couple of those tow behind an ATV brush cutter. Well, he bought 2 of them because he broke the first one and then the second one, and it just wasn't working out for him. So eventually, he purchased a tractor and had all sorts of fun digging holes and filling them up with dirt with that, removing stumps, planting trees, and like I said, cutting brush. Well, he liked to clear the edges of fields, and on the edges of the fields often grew this diamond willow. And this is called diamond willow because of this diamond-shaped knots that it has, see? And when you carve this out and take all the bark off and spend some time cleaning it up, it actually looks very unique and quite pretty. My dad made dozens of canes for people. So for people who needed assistance walking, he made diamond willow canes, and they were very beautiful. I wish I had one to show you. I don't have one of those, but I do have something else that you're really going to get a kick out of, and that's kind of the whole reason I wanted to do this video. So stick around for that. But I do have something that I made out of diamond willow that I'll show you right now. My wife likes to collect crosses, and she has crosses from all over the country, from different places and from different things and places we've gone. Well, for one of our anniversaries, the traditional anniversary gift is wood. So I decided to make her a cross out of diamond willow. And as you can see, the diamond shapes in the cross are very unique and different. And I thought she might enjoy that. And so she displays that in the house for everyone to see. And my dad has made much bigger things than this that I'm going to show you here in a second. So what do I have here? Guys, this is actually a diamond willow walker, okay? Yes, for a person who has difficulty walking, this is a diamond willow walker. It has seen better days. A lot of the screws have come loose and the glue is wearing off, but it is meticulously made with love by my dad, who made it for my mother, who back in 2004 had a hip replaced due to an accident that she had when she was much younger. Her hip started bothering her to the point where it needed to be replaced. So my dad made her this diamond willow walker, and I can't even imagine the hours that he put into this. It is just something else. It is just absolutely very intricate and very well put together. So I'm going to bring you in close and we'll get some good footage of this stuff. As you can see here, guys, look at the beautiful work that my dad put into making this walker, carving out all of these different knots and sanding it down and placing little screws in there that'll hold it together and putting some glue in there. And he did a great job, even put little feet on the bottom of it. And he just spent hours upon hours making this walker for my mom. My mom, however, was never a big fan of this walker. She may have used it a handful of times around the house, but it never left the house. And since then, you know, Mom's been walking and recovered and everything. She hasn't needed it. So it's just been kind of, it just moves from room to room and gets out of the way. The one thing it works really good for is putting wet laundry over it to dry out, like a drying rack. But this walker needs to be repurposed, and I need your help. I need your ideas. What could I repurpose this walker into? One of the ideas that I have was just making some hooks, like a clothes rack, not necessarily a clothes rack, like a thing with some pegs that stick out where you could just hang a towel on or something like that. I don't exactly know, but there's so many hours put into this, carving out all of this diamond willow, that I don't just want to throw it away and get rid of it. And it's too rickety right now to be used at an old folks home. I thought of maybe donating it to one of them, but it's not in good enough shape for that. So it needs to be repurposed. But that's the whole story of the auction, the land ownership, the maintaining the land, the vehicle, the whole Yukon acreage story. The biggest reason I wanted to do this video, because I wanted to really showcase how beautiful this walker is that my dad made. I would imagine it took probably a good 10 hours to make this, maybe even longer. But there's a lot of work that went into this. A lot of love and care. I don't know if my mother ever really realized how hard of an effort he put into this, because remember, she never wanted that land in the first place. But just kind of a funny story, just to help you get to know me a little better, get to know my family and my upbringing a little bit more. And because of the land purchase, that's my dad bought a tractor, and I think it was I think his first one was an L3400 with a backhoe, and he moved so many stumps, and he built that swamp road that you've seen on other videos. And then he purchased the L3940 in 2013 and used that for about a year and a half before he passed away. So yeah. It kind of instilled the love of tractors for me as well. So like I said, I wish he was still around so you guys could get to know him. He was quite a character, could build anything out of anything, and just really, really quite a neat guy. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment. Give me some ideas about what I can repurpose this into. I'd appreciate that. And guys, as always, thank you for watching. Keep on tractoring, and God bless.